I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land and pay my respects to the grandmothers, grandfathers, fathers, mothers, uncles, aunties, brothers and sisters who have walked this country before me. Thank you for keeping me safe on my trip, and thank you for having me in your country. Just gotten to the start of the track and we are signing in. It's cold. Here we are at the start of the Overland track and this is it. Alright, so I'm off and I'm out. We're going to be on the track for 6 days, and one of the things I've been most excited about is potentially seeing a wombat. I've seen my first one. Can you see him here? Oh, that's a wombat! We're going to be walking for about 4 or 5 hours. It was really cold, but since I've started and I have all these layers on, it's getting hot. Might need to stop and take them off in a second. This is one of the most beautiful places. Seriously, look at this. Being April, all the trees are starting to change as we go into autumn. Alright guys, so this was my first stop. This is called the Kitchen Hut. I stopped to put on my gloves and my rain jacket because it's getting a bit hairy out here, so I'm going to continue on now. I'm about halfway through today's walk, and then for the rest of the walk it's pretty much downhill and I'll be heading to the first camp spot. So I've got a little snack, had a good drink of water, feeling good. This is the visibility. The Overland Track spans 65 kilometres across Tasmania's rugged wilderness. Boasting the cleanest air in the world, there's no wonder that this stunning track has found itself in the top 10 walks on this planet. So this is my tent, set up right next to this little stream. It's going to sound beautiful. This is called BANDZ Bluff. Little compostable loo up there, and then there's fresh water to fill up and do your cooking inside here too. But yeah, today was really good. I walked about, I think it was 4 hours, so that was really fun. And tomorrow's a pretty easy day. Tomorrow's only about a 3-hour walk, so I'm going to take my time in the morning. Hey guys, morning. It is day 2 and today I'm heading to Windermere Hut. Last night I stayed at Waterfall Hut. I've just been walking for about an hour and I've made it to a little junction here where there's a little sidewalk. So I'm going to leave the pack, put the rain cover on and head just for an hour to do a little side trip, and then I'm going to keep going towards the hut. I've just gotten down here to the lake and there's this little beach and it's absolutely stunning, as you can see behind me. Today's been gorgeous. The weather's cleared up, it's beautiful, it's so quiet, you can't hear anything, you know, no cars, no planes, no people, barely even. But the people who I have met already on this trip are just gorgeous people. I mean, I guess we've all got something in common from the get-go, so it's really nice. I mean, I am doing this trip alone, so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted a lot of quiet time and I wanted to just be really silent during the days, but it's nice to pass people and say hello, and also just, you know, last night we played cards in the hut and have that time connecting and meeting new people as well. So it's kind of the best of both worlds in my books. Down here, there are some camp platforms there, and I'll show you where I put my tent. We use these platforms to make sure we keep all of this bush intact and that every single person who comes here doesn't kind of dig up a new site. And this is one of the huts, so if you don't sleep out in your tent, you can sleep inside one of these. As you come in here, this is where everybody can cook their food. So there's some little tables and chairs to chill out. And then through this area are the bunks. Possum? So I've just gotten into bed. Check out my lights in my tent. They're inbuilt and it's seriously the coolest thing ever. It's day 3. I'm about an hour and a half into my walk today. Today's walk is 5 to 7 hours to get to Pellion Hut. I'm not going to talk too much today. I'm just going to show you guys the highlights and the most beautiful things that I see. So I'll catch up with you on day 4.
Get away. Get away.
Hey, little. Good morning guys, it's day 4 and I'm heading from Pellion Hut, which is just behind me, to Kiaora Hut. Today's a bit of a shorter day, 3 to 4 hours, which is exciting because yesterday for the second 2.5 hours of the walk it poured down and everything was saturated. But check out this view behind me. This is what we didn't really get to see much of yesterday because it was so rainy. So today I'm going to show you everything that I eat in the day and how I prepare my meals, so that'll be exciting. For brekkie I have 2 sachets of oats, and then I also have a coffee, so I've got my coffee there, and this is soy milk powder, so I use that. While I'm walking I've got this hydrolyte in my water to keep up my electrolytes and everything. Then for lunches I have 2 bars, there's a miso soup, and I also use protein powder, so I have 2 scoops of protein powder with me. And then snacking on trail mix, and then dinner is this noodles, and then each night it has a different sauce. So these are like vegan noodles and sauces that I found online. And then for dessert I have a chocolate bar. And then to cook with I have this collapsible kettle. It literally just pops up like this, and then you put your hot water in here and you can boil it. So I've got also a little can of gas, and on top I just screw in this little attachment, light it up, water on top, and boom, good times. Hot coffee and hot food. Hey guys, it's day 5 on the track and I'm heading to my last hut tonight where I'll be camping at Windy Ridge. It's kind of sad, but I've gotten up early and I'm getting going because there's been snow forecast for today, which is really cool because I've never seen snow, but also at the same time I don't want to get stuck in the middle of it when it does come down. So it's a 3.5 to 4 hour walk today, so I'm going to get going, and once I get there I'm going to show you guys some of the equipment that I've brought with me for the trek. Okay, so I'm going to go through my equipment. I've got my tent and ground sheet, my blow up pillow, my sleeping bag liner, sleeping bag, first aid kit, sunscreen and mozzie stuff, and then the cooking stuff that I showed you yesterday. Drink bottle, sleeping bag, wet wipes is what I've been showering with. This is all my food, clothes, towels which I didn't use, spare rope for the tent, some toiletries, stuff to charge my phone. Then I've got a whistle in case I get in trouble. A multi-tool, Dettol for washing my hands. This is a little beacon in case something did go wrong with me. There is no reception out here, so I could activate this, so it keeps me safe. Map, headlamp, spare batteries for my camera, tissues for toilet paper. This is all of the rubbish that I've used on the track, my backpack cover, and finally my backpack, which is soaking wet. Is it? Day 5, my final day, and I've seen my first ever snow. It's fucking cold. 3 hours walk. Here we go. I think I've just walked out of the worst of the snow, even though there's still some falling. But it's so funny because this whole trip all I've said is I want to see snow, but I just want to walk out of it and not through it. But on my last day I was blessed with this beautiful weather. This means I'm nearly at the end. I'm on the bridge. Really wouldn't want to fall in there. It's that cold. Yes! The ferry! Straight in here. Yes! The first chip. Oh. Hey guys, so I'm at the hotel. I finished off the trek yesterday as you saw, and then spent the night here last night in the beautiful soft warm bed, which was just an absolute treat. And then I've had about 3 showers since I got in here also. But I just wanted to show you a few things before I finish off this vlog. So the first thing was, this was my rubbish for the entire week, all fit into this little plastic bag, and I think that was a great kind of lesson for me in itself, just to do with waste and minimalism and trying to cut down as much as you could. Obviously everything that we took in we had to take out. There are no rubbish bins along the track or anything like that, so you've got to be really conscious of your waste, and I think that's a really great take home from this trip. I try to do that anyway, but I'm definitely going to be a lot more aware of packaging and wrapping. From here on in, I think going to be making that a priority in my life. Just a bit of information for you guys if you did want to ever do the overland track. So basically I've flown into Launceston, but you can fly into Hobart as well. And what I did was got my transport booked from my hotel with overland track transport or something like that. They picked me up at 7 o'clock in the morning and took me to the start of the track. So that was really great. What else? So to book on the track, you need to book. This track sells out, especially in the peak season, which I believe is from about September to April. You'll have to book your spot. So they only let about 20 to 30 people, I think, walk each day. And of those spots, they sell out really quickly. So I ended up doing my trip in April because all of the spots until the day that I wanted were sold out. So you've got to make sure that you do that, and you can just kind of Google, I guess, overland track booking system, and you can book yourself on there. That cost $180 to book your place on the track. And then from there I booked also a visitor's pass to the national park, which I think cost me $30. I caught the ferry from Lake St. Clair, so that cost me $40. So all up the track and the trek, the week, cost me like what, $230, $240. So it was just such an amazing week, and you can do it for such a great price. I did have to buy a bit of equipment which bumped up my trip, but you know, that's that. So yeah, if you wanted to do this trip yourself, make sure you do that. Make sure that you got your transport covered, that you've booked your place on the track, that you've booked your national parks pass, and if you're deciding to take the ferry, make sure you book your ferry before you get there, well before you get there, and some transport also to get you back out of the national park into your hotel is really important too. Really make sure that you've got good quality wet weather warm gear, and make sure that you've got something warm to put on each night when you get to the huts, because there's a good chance that you're going to be cold and a little bit wet. And when it's cold like that, especially at that time of year, you just want to be making sure that you're warming yourself up each night. My sleeping bag wasn't warm enough, so make sure that you've got a really warm weather sleeping bag. I mean, it snowed overnight one of the nights, and the other nights were freezing cold too. You're up high in the mountains, so you just want to make sure that you've got a really good bag to keep yourself warm, and obviously thermals as well. What else did I learn? A lot of people had some amazing like dehydrated meals and things like that. My food was really simple, but I'm like that. I can eat the same thing every day and not get sick of it, so that wasn't too bad. But you know, it's each to their own in that department. Apart from that, I can't recommend it highly enough. It was the most beautiful, wild, the landscape was like, I don't even know how to explain it, you know. Usually can be like, oh, it's kind of like this, or you know, kind of like this other place, but it's not. It's just a total separate world on its own down there in Tassie. It's just like, oh, every view, every time you look around, it's something different, and it changes so much. It's so vast, and you just gotta do it. I realized that from my video it probably looks really wet and windy and rainy, and yes it was, but at the same time it's an adventure, and I get to come home now and talk about the time I did the overland track and it snowed and it was wet and it was hard at times, but that's what you want. You don't want to just breeze through it with no kind of story to tell at the end. So if you want a challenge, and if you want something different, and if you want to really get out into nowhere, this is the place that you could do it. So I had an incredible time. I'm so glad that I chose that for my holiday, and yeah, I hope that this video has helped you maybe make a decision, or has sparked an interest in something for you. So thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe.